Welcome to House of Israel, Nigeria. At House of Israel, we share 5 unique visions. Our vision is to be a worshiping people. Our vision is to be an evangelistic community. Our vision is to be a discipleship center. Our vision is to be an equipping network. Our vision is to be a worldwide witness of Yeshua the Messiah. This 5 core vision guides and directs our actions and programs at House of Israel, Nigeria. We believe we have been called to catalyze a spiritual awakening in the nations. And through our teachings and programs and publications, we've been able to transform and shape the lives of countless around the world. We want you to continue to pray with us and partner with us in this vision of being a discipleship center of global awakening. We believe we've been called to establish a training facility where people all across Africa and the world can be deeply taught the word of Yehovah, taught his commandment, and taught his law. And by so doing, we experience transformation globally. This is our role and this is our job. We believe this to be a lifelong commitment. And we welcome you to be a part with us and to get involved with House of Israel, Nigeria, in making this a reality. To learn more about us, quickly go on our website, www.hoinigeria.com. I look forward to hearing from you. Shalom. Shalom Saints, welcome to our discipleship training program today. I want to welcome you especially to our Kingdom Legacy Project International Office. So I'm broadcasting today from our international office, and this will be the first broadcast I'll be sending out to the world from our Kingdom Legacy Project House of Israel International Headquarters. I want to appreciate Yehovah for giving us this facility, and he has deeply showed himself so kind to House of Israel Nigeria, as we own a large space, we own an international convocation center, we own a 7-bedroom guest house, we own an international studio and office, and Father has blessed us with these resources so we can broadcast and advance the kingdom of Yehovah. We've been given the vision to take the true gospel of the kingdom of Yehovah to the ends of the earth, and Yehovah has entrusted unto us his wisdom, his resources, his word for the nations and for you. I want to appreciate each of you for your prayers and your partnership with our ministry in reaching the world. We are poised to be a global voice for discipleship making and for the equipping of the saints. And thank you so much for your prayerfulness, your watchfulness, and for your support in our ministry. And I believe Yehovah will mightily bless you as we shared the word of Yehovah today. We are still putting some things together. We are moving gadgets, instruments, we're moving things in. So, and I also want to encourage you to be a part of us in for a Shabbat Holy Convocation service, as we will be having the first Shabbat service on the site too. Next tomorrow, on Saturday, we'll be having our first Shabbat gathering, and it will be for selected potential leaders and those whom Yehovah has brought in our way. So we want to do something unique towards the dedication of the facility. So we are still in the process of our prayer and fasting. We are seeking Yehovah for the next 3 months, seeking his face for this global task. We've been commissioned to take the global harvest of Yehovah so seriously. I want to appreciate each of you for this support, and it's so amazing what Yehovah is doing. So please don't miss our Shabbat Holy convocation service, as it will bless your life immensely and impact you. The testimonies that you will hear this Shabbat will be mind blowing. You hear mind blowing testimonies and great works, and you will discover ways you can also be a part with us in our vision of global awakening and discipleship making. First of all, welcome once again to House of Israel, Nigeria, and this is the Discipleship Training 101. And today, I'll be sharing with you some amazing truths from Yehovah's words, and these are foundational truths that will inspire you, strengthen you, and support you in your work with Yehovah. So right now, please like our page, go on our YouTube channel, AK, go on our website, and follow us on Facebook, House of Israel, Nigeria. And make sure you share this broadcast. Invite your families and friends to be a part with you on this journey with us as we explore your vast truths. Amazing. Jehovah will bless your precious holy name. Thank you for your mighty presence in this place, in the homes of your people, and everywhere this broadcast will get to, every social media platform you will use to extend your message. I pray that this will be a season of strength, a season of impartation, a season of healing, a season of restoration, a season of breakthroughs, spiritual breakthroughs, a season of revival. Let your word run swiftly in our midst and be glorified, Yehovah. We thank you today. In Yeshua's precious name we pray. At House of Israel, Nigeria, we share 5 unique visions. Our vision is to be a worshiping people. Our vision is to be an evangelistic community. Our vision is to be a discipleship center. Our vision is to be an equipping network. And our vision is to be a worldwide witness of Yeshua, the Messiah. These 5 core visions guide our programs and activities at House of Israel. So I want to encourage you right now as we go into the message to also get your Bibles, get your notepad, and get your writing materials as we go into Jehovah's word. Hallelujah. Turn about with me to the book of Joshua 24. Joshua 24. I want to explore a message titled Kingdom Living. Kingdom Living. Joshua 24. Joshua 24. Let's do a long reading from the book of Joshua, chapter 24, from verse 1. And Joshua gathered all the tribes of Israel to Shechem and called for the elders of Israel and for their heads and for their judges and for their officers, and they presented themselves before Elohim. And Joshua said unto all the people, Thus saith Yehovah, Elohim of Israel, your fathers dwelt on the other side of the flood in old time, even Terah, the father of Abraham and the father of Nahor, and others served, and they served other gods. And I took your father Abraham from the other side of the flood, and led him throughout all the land of Canaan, and multiplied his seed, and gave him Isaac. And I gave unto Isaac Jacob and Esau, and I gave unto Esau Mount Seir to possess it. But Jacob and his children went down into Egypt. I sent Moses also and Aaron, and I plagued Egypt, according to that which I did among them. And afterward I brought you out. And I brought your fathers out of Egypt, and ye came unto the sea. And the Egyptians pursue after your fathers with chariots and horsemen unto the Red Sea. And when they cried unto Yehovah, he put darkness between you and the Egyptian, and brought the sea upon them, and covered them. And your eyes have seen what I have done in Egypt, and ye dwell in the wilderness a long season. Verse 8. I brought you into the land of the Amorites, which dwell on the other side of Jordan, and they fought you And I gave them into your hand that ye might possess their land, and I destroyed them before you. Then Balak the son of Zippor, king of Moab, arose and warred against Israel, and sent and called Balaam the son of Beor to curse you. But I would not hearken unto Balaam. Therefore he blessed you still. So I delivered you out of his hand. And you went over Jordan and came unto Jericho. And we're reading Joshua 24. I'm reading from verse 10 right now. And I would not hearken unto Balaam. Therefore he blessed you still. So I delivered you out of his hand. Verse 11. Joshua 24, verse 11. And ye went over Jordan and came unto Jericho. And the men of Jericho fought against you, the Amorite and the Perizzite, and the Canaanite and the Hittite and the Giggite, the Hivite and the Jebusite, and I delivered them into your hand. And I sent the hornet before you, which drove them out before you, even 2 kings of the Amorites, but not with thy sword, nor with thy bow. And I have given you a land for which ye did not labor, and cities which ye built not, and ye dwell in them, of the vineyards and oliveyards, which ye planted not, do you eat. Verse 14. Now therefore fear Yehovah, and serve him in sincerity and in truth, and put away the gods which your fathers served on the other side of the flood, and in Egypt, and serve ye Yehovah. And if it seem evil unto you, serve. Verse 15, and if it seem evil unto you to serve Jehovah, choose you this day whom you will serve, whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land ye dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve Jehovah. And the people answered and said, Elohim forbid that we should forsake Jehovah to serve other gods. For Yehovah our Elohim, for Yehovah our Elohim, He it is that brought us up and our fathers out of the land of Egypt, from the land of bondage, and which did those great signs in our sight, and preserved us in all the way wherein we went, and among all the people through whom we passed. And Jehovah drove them out before us, all the people, even the Amorites which dwelt in the land. Therefore we serve Yehovah, for he is our Elohim. And Joshua said unto the people, Ye cannot serve Yehovah, for he is holy. He is a holy Elohim. He is a jealous Elohim. He will not forgive your transgression, nor your sins. If you forsake Yehovah and serve strange gods, then he will turn and do you hurt, and consume you after that he has done you good. Verse 21. And the people said unto Joshua, Nay, but we will serve Jehovah. And Joshua said unto the people, Ye are witnesses against yourself that you have chosen you, Jehovah, to serve him. And they said, We are witnesses. Now therefore put away, said he, the strange gods which are among you, and incline your heart unto Jehovah, Elohim of Israel. Verse 24. And the people said unto Joshua, Jehovah our Elohim we will serve, and his voice we will obey. And Joshua made a covenant with the people that day, and set them a statute and an ordinance in Shechem. And Joshua wrote these words in the book of the law of Elohim, and took a great stone and set it up there under an oak, and was by the sanctuary of Yehovah. And Joshua said unto all the people, Behold, this stone shall be a witness unto you, for it hath heard all the words of Jehovah which he spake unto you, unto us. It shall be therefore a witness unto you, lest ye deny your Elohim. So Joshua let the people depart, every man unto his inheritance. Verse 29. And it came to pass after this thing that Joshua the son of Nun, the servant of Yehovah, died, being 110 years old. And they buried him in the border of his inheritance in Timnah Serah, which is in Mount Ephraim, on the north side of the hill of Gash. And Israel served Yehovah all the days of Joshua and all the days of the elders that outlived Joshua, and which had known all the works of Yehovah that he had done for Israel. Praise Yehovah. An amazing story. A call from Joshua to his generation. The call was the call to serve Yehovah. And Joshua tells the people the history, the patriarchal history of their fathers, and how Yehovah brought Abraham and his fathers from the land of paganism and idolatry, and how Yehovah singles out Abraham and begins a new kingdom lineage with Abraham, and how Isaac and Israel are all inclusive of that promise and that journey Yehovah began with the ancestral fathers, and how eventually Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob begins a new era of kingdom heritage. And when it came to Israel, equally called Jacob, he goes into Egypt. And while in Egypt, God's people become bound by Pharaoh. They become captive in Egypt. Eventually, Yehovah sends Moses, and Moses liberates Israel out of the captivity of the Egyptian. And their liberation from Egypt was not without blessings. Yehovah blessed them while they left Egypt with precious resources. So while they were leaving Egypt to the land Jehovah's promise, Yehovah begins to work with them, and Yehovah begins to destroy nations who already occupied territory Yehovah was given them. So Israel was going to enter into a land that Yehovah himself will establish. They had houses, they did not build; olive trees, they did not plant; wells, they did not dig. An amazing favor of Jehovah upon his people. The only condition Jehovah gives his people is to serve him, is total allegiance to him. The challenge God's people faced while walking with their Elohim is the temptation and the seduction of other nations and their gods and their deities. Israel could not keep fidelity to the Elohim who brought their fathers out of the place of idolatry. And Israel could not even keep fidelity to the Elohim who brought them out of Egypt. And Israel still could not keep fidelity to the Elohim who destroyed 7 mighty nations stronger than them. Israel still goes in the path of idolatry, in the path of covenant breaking. And this is so challenging. And Joshua is a first-hand observer of history because he has seen how history played out in his ministry and journey with God's servant Moses, and how Israel lingered and were punished by Yehovah as a result of the disobedience, covenant breaking, grumbling, and complaining. Now, Joshua is about to set the new precedence, and he calls the people. He tells them, guys, there is a mandate, a call to serve Yehovah. And I don't know if you guys have made up your mind to go this path. Joshua tells them in Joshua chapter 24, verse 14. Amazing words here used by Joshua in Joshua 24, verse 14. Now, therefore, fear Yehovah and serve him in sincerity and in truth, and put away the gods which your fathers served on the other side of the flood and in Egypt, and serve ye Yehovah. And that's where we are going today, to serve ye Yehovah. The condition to serve Yehovah was the call to respond to Yehovah in sincerity and truth. Because many times we pretend we are with him while not being with him. We pretend we know him while not knowing him. We pretend we are following him while still having our idols in our hearts, our idols in our pocket, our idols in our intellect, our idols in our imagination, our idols in our emotions. So Joshua is saying, guys, we cannot serve Jehovah except it comes from a place of sincerity and truth. And Yehovah is a holy Elohim. That means you can't follow the holy Elohim while still incorporating pagan idols, while still honoring other idols, while still having graven images. You still consult either images made of stone or wood, or images made from your imagination or in your head. So Joshua is challenging Jehovah's people. The call to follow Jehovah has to be rooted or born from the place of sincerity and the place of truth. But there's a sharp call, the call to serve Jehovah. And that's what Joshua's objective was for his generation, to call them to serve Jehovah. And there are further caution in verse 15 of Joshua 24. It tells the people, and if it seems evil unto you to serve Jehovah, choose you this day whom you will serve. And this is a very strong caution. And for many of us, we are quick to tag along, even without having the whole facts. We are quick to stick our head into religion without even knowing its demand. And if you have searched the scriptures and you feel, oh, giving commitment or allegiance to Yehovah, the Elohim of Israel, is too high for me, then he's telling his people, you don't have to stand on the fence or sit on the fence or pretend you are in while being out. He gives them the option. He opens the door for them to check out if they are willing to give that allegiance to the true Elohim of Israel. He tells them, if it seems evil to serve Jehovah, choose you this day whom you will serve. Because our life can never be clear-cut, powerful until we've made this choice, until we've made this decision, until we say, I'm not going to be double-minded. I'm not going to pretend I'm in and out. I'm not going to claim faith on Monday, doubt on Tuesday, unbelief on Wednesday, and back faith on Thursday. I'm not going to tell Yehovah I love him when my love is still tied to an idol. I've got to make that singular one-time commitment and allegiance to Yehovah or to the idol that still pulls my emotion or pulls my allegiance. Choose you this day whom you will serve. Whether the gods which your father served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorite in whose land you dwell. So even the land they've taken as inheritance still had the smell of the Amorite gods. It's either they say, wow, I'm not comfortable with serving Yehovah. Let me return back to Egypt and serve the gods of the Egyptians, or go far back and serve the idols of their ancestral fathers, or stay within the land and say, okay, within the land, I'm going to serve the God of the Amorites. It could be Chemosh, Asheroth, or any other gods they decide to serve, but they must not walk with Yehovah in hypocrisy or in pretense. And this is where many of us are today. The hypocrisy, the pretense, and the deception is just too heavy. And that's why there's a lack of power, there's a lack of weight. Because what are we doing? Are we serving Yehovah? When we call him Lord, are we calling Lord the Elohim of Israel? Or are we calling Baal Lord? Are we calling Mammon Lord? Because Yeshua tells us you can't serve Elohim and Mammon. I would say Mammon is a deity of money. So there are different idols, different gods. It could be Mammon, it could be Nehushtan, it could be Pharmakia, it could be knowledge. The Greek worship knowledge, don't forget. So what is the idol you worship? And who is the idol you worship? Don't call that idol Yehovah if it's indeed Baal. So there has to be a clear-cut understanding of who am I worshiping? Who is my worship unto? Who is my worship unto? In what direction is my worship towards? So Joshua calls the people to make a one-time decision. Stop being neutral. Stop sitting on the fence. You're either going backward or going forward. To go forward with Elohim of Israel, you have to denounce other idols. You have to denounce paganism. You have to denounce idolatry. Now, Joshua makes a clear-cut statement about himself, because this is not just calling people into commitment without the leader first making the commitment. Here's Joshua's own statement. It says in Joshua 24, verse 15, "But as for me and my house, we will serve Yehovah." This is the statement of adequacy. I'm not contented with the gods of the Amorites. I'm not contented with the gods my ancestral fathers served. I'm contented with the God who brought us out of Egypt, the God whom I saw manifest wonders through Moses, the Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And Joshua makes the ultimate statement: as for me and my household, we will serve Yehovah. The moment Joshua makes a statement, the people choruses the statement in verse 16. And the people answered and said, "God forbid that we should forsake Yehovah to serve other gods. For Yehovah our Elohim is he that brought us up out of Egypt, out of the land of Egypt, from the house of bondage, which did those great signs in our sight, and preserved us in all the way wherein we went, and among all the people through whom we passed. And Jehovah drove out from before us all the people, even the Amorites which dwelt in the land. Therefore we serve Jehovah the Elohim. He is our Elohim. So therefore we will serve Jehovah. We will bow and worship. We will give single allegiance. And mind you, at this time there was no church. There was no denomination. So how did they express serving Yehovah outside the constraints or outside the confinement of church developed liturgies, ways of worship, preaching, sermonizations? What was serving Yehovah? What is serving Yehovah look like at this time? Because serving Yehovah looks differently today in our time. Now, the word serve in Hebrew means to bow. It means to bow to Yehovah. It means to forsake every other commitment to idols. It means we do not give our worship to anything other than Yehovah. It means Yehovah is first and only. So when we make the declaration, I will serve Yehovah, for so many people, that word sounds like I will serve my church, or I'll do what the church say. So there are those who right now are not serving Yehovah, but serving a church system. Serving Yehovah looks different from serving the church. Until people find Yehovah, and it's important I use the word the church, because the usage of the word church is characterized in our modern times as meaning or connoting a church building or a church structure or a church system, instead of the word ecclesia, which is a collection of people separated from the world, the called out ones. Now, if I choose the word church as an embodiment of structures and systems and place of gathering, which in itself weakens the understanding and depth of serving Yehovah. Because only the ecclesia, only those who see themselves as called out from darkness, called out from Egypt, called out from the world, can understand what it means to be in allegiance, in submission, in honor, in awe of Yehovah. So you cannot serve within the ecclesia as a fellowship if you've not yet discovered the Elohim of the ecclesia. So people gather within the ecclesia, yet are not part of the body of Messiah. Because within the ecclesia setting, there are people whose allegiance to Elohim is not 100%. So the call was to first identify whom are you serving. Yes, we know collectively we are all Israel. We are all Israelites. As Joshua communicates with them, they were all Yehovah's people. But what unifies them as a journey into the future is you cannot continue to be an Israelite with an idol in your heart, an idol in your home. If we continue as Israelites or as brethren, what will keep us in the mission will be the decision we make today. Therefore, Joshua tells the people, in going forward, we have to make a decision. Either you're serving the gods of your fathers, or serving the gods of the Egyptian, or serving the gods of the Amorites. You just don't have to sit on the fence and call yourself, oh, we are all Israelites, or we are all children of Abraham. We cannot all be children of Abraham if you are still having the idol of the Amorites, whom you call within your home setting, whom you call upon at night, and then still come out within the circle of brethren of brotherhood and say, yes, oh, we belong to the same Yehovah, the same Elohim, whereas you in your hiding place or your secret place still have other idols. So what will make us one will be our identity, or our proclamation, our confession and profession of one Elohim. It had to be the basis of fellowship. The basis of fellowship is the God we all serve. The basis of unity is not even doctrine. Because we know there are so many people seeking unity within the body. The basis of unity is not doctrine. The basis of unity is the Elohim. So if we come together and you call Lord Jesus, or you call Lord Buddha, or you call Lord Krishna, or you call Lord, but the Lord you're calling is pointing to other facets or areas of many religious gods. Because when we use the word Lord, Lord could mean multiple other idols or gods. And so this is so important to say that we understand whom do we call? Are we collectively serving the same Elohim? Because it's possible you call the same God with us in a corporate place of worship, but in your secret place you have a carved image, a graven image whom you still call upon. And this is a case within the body of Messiah and in many religious settings today. There is yet no clear-cut Elohim to them. Joshua here underscores the idea of polytheism, that Yehovah instructively warns against calling or having different gods beside him. That you can't mix God. You can't mix idols with Elohim. You can't mix deity. You can't say it does not matter. There is only one God. So we're calling every God leads to God. Every road leads to God. No, you can't say that. You can't say yes, what we can worship the God of the Amorites, but it's still the information or the instruction from the book of their worship seems familiar or similar to ours. Oh, it doesn't matter. Oh, we can worship Allah, because the Muslims and the Christians and the Hindu is all the same creator. It does not work. For Joshua, it's not the way it works. There's one true Elohim, and his name is Yehovah. Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He's distinct, he's holy, and he's a jealous Elohim. Joshua tells us in Joshua 24, verse 19. And Joshua said unto the people, ye cannot serve Yehovah. You think it's just opening your mouth and saying, yes, well, I will, or I can. So you cannot serve Yehovah. Once your heart is still full of deception and religion, you think you can serve Yehovah? Why? He tells them, for he is a holy Elohim. Speaking of his distinct character and nature, he's a jealous Elohim. He will not forgive your transgression or your sin if you forsake Yehovah and serve strange gods. He will turn and do you hurt. Did somebody ever tell you this about Yehovah? That if you give Yehovah allegiance and compromise the allegiance you've given him and or you deny him, you reject him, and you start serving other gods, he said Yehovah will hurt you and consume you after that he had done you good. This part of his nature. He's after absolute commitment. So the decision you have to make today is, okay, I'm not comfortable with serving the true Elohim. I want to find another Elohim or God to serve. And that should be clearly set in your heart. But you cannot keep being or sitting on the fence. If you're serving Yehovah, then live by his terms, then live by his covenant, but live by his rules. You can't keep breaking his rules and claim you're serving him, because you can't even break the rules of the gods of the Amorites and still go secure. Worship is deadly. No one puts his hands on the plow and looks back his feet for the kingdom. Yehovah is committed to bless us if we are prepared to give him our full 100% commitment and to know him and to serve him and to follow him and to love him and to seek him and to lay down everything else and go after him and denounce every other petty idols, petty gods we still call upon, and allow him set the condition. When it comes to serving Jehovah, he sets the condition. He gives the term of the worship. He gives the term of the covenant agreement, the arrangement, the package. He is the one that he's a patron of the covenant. He is. We don't determine how it goes. He determines how it goes. To whom do you serve? Do you know the Elohim you serve? Or could you just be serving Baal without knowing? Choose this day whom you will serve. To serve Jehovah has to be from the basis of understanding of polytheism. Polytheism is still real in our world today. While in a few parts of the world, there are still those referred to as pagans, call them pagans, people who have no religion. They are pagans, they have no religion, or they have no clear-cut commitment to any Elohim. But in many parts of the world, apart from Europe, where people are fastly becoming humanistic in the sense of a new the new phase of religion, which is humanism, the praise of man as the accomplisher or the doer of great wonders. So man is now entering a new phase of religion where man himself becomes God. Man tells you, oh, there's no God anywhere. Man is the God. That is the phases where Europe has entered. And even within Europe, there's a strong resurgence of paganism. People are beginning to exclude themselves from worship or serving Elohim. But it's now the serving of governments. So even though places in Europe where people exclude themselves from the serving of the true one deity, one Elohim, their souls worship of government. There's now government worship. And in some parts of the world, like in Africa, certain part in Africa, where different tribes, they are tribal gods. Every tribe you go to still have their gods, apart from the inception of Christianity in those regions where Christianity subsumes every other god and then institutes Jesus or Christianity as the supreme religion. So even within those kind of settings, there are still tribal gods. So the people who still attend the Christian church still have their tribal gods. So if their Jesus fails them, they still consult their tribal gods. It could be the gods of the rivers, or the gods of the forest, or the gods of, it could be animism. That also practice. There are places right now where animism is practiced. There are places even in the Far East where people don't eat snakes. They don't eat snakes because they don't eat snake because they don't eat snake, not because it's unclean, but because they perceive snakes as gods. They see snakes as God. There are places where they don't kill cows, not because they see them as unclean or because they don't believe that Yehovah doesn't want them to eat meat, but they see cows as gods. So certain animals are perceived as to be gods, so they worship these animals as gods. So various parts of the world have different understanding of these issues. So Europe is fastly advancing in technology. So there's this push towards technological advancement as the basis for humanism, while some other parts of the world see practice paganism, people who have no clear-cut submission to one deity as their Elohim, who claim they are just without religion. Paganism, those without a religion, as they claim. Eventually, with Christianity, its goal is to subsume every other gods. Or the mistake Christianity does is that it undermines the reality of polytheism. It undermines the reality of polytheism. And by so doing, once you undermine the reality of polytheism, you miss a big information or a big fact of people's of demons, idols, images, and the whole of these things are missed. There are still idols and gods within certain regions that governs and controls. It could be vegetation, it could be agriculture, it could be love, it could be warfare. In the ancient Greek mythology, we know that when certain nations wanted to go to war, they sought after the gods of war to enable them gain victory in warfare. And even in certain parts in Africa and Nigeria, where some tribal regions worship the god called Shango or Batala, the god of iron, the god of stone, the god of thunder. So there were different attributed gods, pantheons, who claimed ownership of certain geographical territory and whose powers covered certain regions and jurisdiction. So when people wanted power in warfare, they sought after either Obatala or Shango, or for the Igbo tribe, they sought after Amadioha, you know, Ekwensu. These were tribal pantheons who controlled certain realms of human affairs. So they sought these pantheons for empowerment and for support. But it was not without condition. There were pantheons who demanded the first sons. For those who wanted victory in warfare, the pantheon spirit would ask them for their first son. There were those who wanted children to have a child. They would seek the pantheon of the river, the gods of the river, or what they call the mermaid spirit, or the marine spirit, or the water spirit. So for a child, they sought the water spirit, a pantheon of the rivers. And when they go in search of a child from the pantheon of the river, it was not without a condition. The pantheon spirit will stipulate the condition. The condition always and it always includes intrusion into bloodline. So the pantheon spirit gains access into the bloodline. It means the pantheon now has voice and control over the unborn generation of the one whom they have entered a contractual agreement to bless with a child. So the pantheon gives the woman or the family a child, but from that point on gain access into a genealogy or a generation. So this pantheon spirit have always sought to gain control of generations. And this is a very strong issue. Pantheons, evil spirit, demonic spirit have one assignment. They want to gain control over generations. And not just generations, they want to gain control over genealogy and geography. So even though this is a pantheon spirit of the water, she is not contented with ruling the water. She wants to rule over the affairs of human souls. So when people leave the true Elohim and open the door for pantheon spirits, they give them access, or they give them access or doorway into their generation. And this is how certain sicknesses, infirmities, patterns of living, behaviors, and curses has entered into certain family trees. That's why Yehovah tells us, for those who hate God, the iniquity or the punishment of hating Yehovah is a trans punishment, which is for the third and fourth generation of those who hate Yehovah. So to seek the true Elohim is crucial. It is not, and this is where Yehovah is special, and that's why we need to discover the true Elohim. For those who still do not find the true Elohim, but daily after religion are playing after they play and trying to delve into certain cult groups, certain Hinduism, New Age movement, occultic groups, exploring different idols and sacred stones and playing with crystal balls, playing with tarot card, playing with all of those horoscope. You're granting a doorway to a spirit, to a pantheon spirit into your generation, into your bloodline. And this spirit wants to rule and control. And so it's with grave consequences. So once you understand that polytheism is real, it's so real, but all of these painted idols of gods have no power because all authority is in Yeshua. Yehovah has given Yeshua all authority. It does not mean these pantheons don't have their influences or their wiles and deceptions and their manipulations. They still have their ways through which they transact to get things done in the realms of the spirit. But the true and only power and authority belongs to Yeshua. So once we submit to Yeshua and we come under his government, we become free and empowered, and we come people who can deliver other people from these holes they've had generationally from pantheon spirits. There are still tribes even within the Igbo land right now who, even though they've embraced Christian religion, will tell you with the Christian religion they are still being afflicted by certain ancestral curses. And the challenge for these people is now, though we are now in Messiah or in Christ, how come this spirit still has a hold over our lives? So eventually, with the calling of Yeshua Jesus, they still have to go back to the ancestral lineage and give libation, or give libation, or give sacrifices to this pantheon to appease them. So all of these things are things people face in various tribes and regions. So for Joshua, he's telling Israel, you know what, guys? Before your generation, your fathers served idols before the river, and then presently you are in the land of the Amorites, and they have their gods also. And these great mighty 7 nations all have gods that controls gods they are all serving under. Be careful. If you're not careful, you may now begin to forsake your own Elohim and start seeking after the gods of the other nations. Because the gods of the other nation gives license for immorality. That means you can serve Baal and still be promiscuous. You can serve Baal and still be unholy. Baal does not care about your holiness, but Yehovah cares about your holiness. And so serving other gods gave Israel license, like it did for other nations, to still live in unethical and immoral life. And think about it. I know there were those who in the Igbo land, in the Igbo land, something happens for those who wanted to seek a child from the pantheon of the river. The pantheon of the river gives you a condition, but her condition is never on the premise of immorality. So the pantheon does not care if you are a fornicator. The pantheon does not care if you are an adulterer or adulteress. He gives you the child on the condition of gaining access into your generation or your lineage. But in serving Yehovah, there are conditions. He touches on Yehovah's worship, touches on character. That he's the only true Elohim that touches on the call of relationship. He goes deeply to tell us that covenant relationship with him does not just stop with him giving you a blessing. He tells you the functioning, the life of the blessing you will receive from him is all entrenched into certain behaviors, covenant behaviors. It ties around holiness, righteousness, justice, loving your fellow brethren. But for other nations, other idols, they don't care about those things. But Jehovah cares about it. So it's not about him giving you a child. It's about you operating faithfully within the covenant of Yehovah. Amazing. Amazing. So what are we talking about here, Sin? I'm saying that the true Elohim gives the condition for serving him. And it tells us he's a holy Elohim. And he's also a jealous Elohim. He visits iniquity from the 3rd and 4th generation of those who hate him. And he also shows mercy to the 3rd and 4th generation of those who love him. And that's what amazing. That tells you the character of this Elohim, Yehovah, whom we serve. So Joshua tells the people, serving Yehovah has a whole different commitment. Serving Yehovah has a whole different rules. Serving him is a unique kind. There are unique kinds of rules you have to keep in serving Yehovah. The gods of other nations may not care about those rules or care about the laws of Yehovah. They may even endorse you operating in abomination, the things Yehovah hates. See, other gods don't care if you eat unholy. Yehovah cares about you eating holy. Other idols don't care you tying your life around adultery and fornication, but Yehovah cares about it. So it has to do with you fully acknowledging the fact that yes, I truly want to go the way of serving the true Elohim. This is the way I want to go. But you can't tell me you're serving the true Elohim and still live promiscuous and still live a life of unethical behavior, immoral behavior, and still tell me you're serving the true Elohim. No, there's always a question mark to any ministry, any minister who claims to build Yehovah and live a compromising life. There will be manifestations in the ministry, but manifestations in the ministry or miracles in the ministry does not mean it's coming from Yehovah. And we know, as we looked at the life of Moses' encounter with the sorcerers in Egypt, that when Moses dropped the rod of Yehovah, the magicians of Egypt also dropped down their rods and they also performed signs and wonders. False prophets also do wonders. False prophets also do signs. False prophets also do miracles. And this is so important we know that. So to know who is a follower of Yehovah, we must know what the covenant with Yehovah entails, and we should expect the terms of that covenant from those who claim they are with Yehovah. And if those things are not in operation, if we can't find the fruit of covenant in their life, then we can tell perhaps they are serving idols in disguise. And this is so important to know. Now, so as we go further, we want to say something else here, and that's in verse 31, Joshua 24, verse 31. And Israel served Yehovah all the days of Joshua and all the days of the elders that outlived Joshua, and which had known all the works of Yehovah which he had done. So powerful. Now, Joshua's era was an era of display. In other words, Joshua was able to display the majesty, the greatness of the Elohim of Israel. In comparison to other Elohim of Israel subdued every other pantheon spirit. And that was so magnificent to behold the wonders of Yehovah in the nations was amazing. And this gave rise to the next generation to see, oh, our Elohim is supreme over every other pantheon spirit. So Joshua sets the pace to serving Yehovah. And also, Joshua's demise did not end or cause a cessation of the power, wonders, and majesty of Yehovah. We also see that there were elders that outlived Joshua. And what we see in the lives of the elders was they displayed the same wonders of Yehovah, the same way Joshua displayed. Meaning, Israel served Yehovah. Israel served Yehovah. Mark this word, Israel served. The lifespan of their serving Yehovah was within 2 generations. The lifespan of Israel serving Yehovah was tied around 2 generations. First, it was tied around the generation of Joshua. So because Joshua was a representative of that kingdom, that power, Elohim's greatness, Israel saw the example, greatness of Elohim, and they served him. So when Joshua died, Israel still serve Yehovah because the elders who outlived Joshua knew Yehovah. The same way Joshua knew Yehovah, the elders that outlived Joshua were also first-hand witnesses, meaning the elders could display the wonders of Yehovah. Every generation needs a focus as far as it concerns worship. Every generation needs a focus. See, if our generation do not see the activities of Yehovah, they will turn to technology for their hope. If our generation do not see the provision power of Yehovah, they will turn to government for sustenance. Our generation needs to see the constant intervention and movement and operation of Yehovah within our sphere. That's why Habakkuk was lamenting, saying, Yehovah, I have seen your works, I've heard of your wondrous work, but in my generation, make it happen. That was the cry of Habakkuk. Revive your works in my days, Yehovah. I've heard of your works in time past, but in my days, repeat them, Yehovah. So Joshua displays the wonders of Yehovah, and Israel served Yehovah. And in Joshua's demise, Israel still served Yehovah because the elders could display the sovereign power of Yehovah over all other idols. So it tells us in Joshua 24, verse 31, Israel served Yehovah all the days of Joshua. So their serving Yehovah was tied to two generations. All the days of Joshua and all the days of the elders that outlived Joshua and which had known the works of Yehovah that he had done for Israel. So the elders had known it. They knew it. They had first-hand experiential knowledge of the works of Jehovah. So they could equally demonstrate the same works. The same work Jehovah did through Moses, the elders could demonstrate the same works. So that caused Israel to submit. It compelled Israel to obey. But something happened. And let's look at this. Judges. Let's talk to Judges. Judges chapter 2. Judges. Oh, amazing. Judges chapter 2. Are you there? Judges, the book of Judges, just after Joshua is the book of Judges. Judges chapter 2, from verse 6. Judges 2 6. And when Joshua had let the people go, so a continuation of Joshua 24. And when Joshua had let the people go, the children of Israel went every man unto his inheritance to possess the land. And the people served Yehovah all the days of Joshua and all the days of the elders that outlived Joshua, who had seen all the great works of Yehovah that he did for Israel. Verse 8. And Joshua the son of Nun, the servant of Yehovah, died being 110 years old. And they buried him in the border of his inheritance in Timnath Heres, in the mount of Ephraim, on the north side of the hill of Gash. And also all that generation were gathered unto their fathers, and they arose. Now look at this. Now this is so important. This is so important. Don't miss me here. Verse 10. Verse 10. Judges 2:10. Judges 2:10. It says, and also all that generation were gathered unto their fathers, meaning the whole generations died. the generation of Joshua and the elders died. And there arose another generation after them, which knew not the Lord, which knew not Yehovah, nor yet the works which he had done for Israel. Israel serves Yehovah all the days of Joshua and all the days of the elders who have lived Joshua. So in two generations, Joshua's generation and the generation of the elders, Israel serves Yehovah. And when Joshua's generation ends and the end comes to the elders' generation, a new generation emerges. They have no first-hand information. They have theory without wonders. And this is a big calamity. Theory without wonders will produce apostasy. Oh, I dare you to believe this. Theory without wonders equals apostasy. See, Joshua dies, the elders dies. This generation that arose had the book of the law. Don't forget this. The book of the law was available to them. But they did not know how to use the book. It was theory without wonders. And this is the bane of our generation. We have theories, but no wonders. Big Bible, small God. Big Bible, no God. Theories without wonders. It appears the book is locked. Joshua is dead. He could unlock the book. The elders who have lived Joshua is dead. They could unlock the book. They could display the works of Yehovah. Now Joshua is dead. Now the elders they are dead. No one could unlock the works of God. No more works. It appears that when Joshua died, the elders died, God went on retirement. And this is what we face today. God is on retirement. In the life of so many believers, it looks as if God is on retirement in their lives because there's no works of God. No more display of his wonders, of his miracles, of his signs. Of his signs. Now, let me show you something else here. Something so profound. So profound. Pray I find this here. I should be able to find this. Oh, is God on retirement in your life? Is God on retirement in your family? Is God on retirement in your ministry? Then you've got to pray the prayer of Habakkuk. Habakkuk chapter 3. Habakkuk chapter 3 from verse 1 and 2. A prayer of Habakkuk the prophet upon Shigonot. O Yehovah, Habakkuk 3 verse 2. O Yehovah, I have heard of thy speech. I have heard of thy speech and was afraid. O Yehovah, revive thy revive thy work in the midst of the years. In the midst of the years, make known. In wrath, remember mercy. revive their works. Habakkuk is asking for the works of Yehovah to be revived. Our generation is faced with two plagues, and that's the same plague we see in Judges 2 verse 10. Judges 2 verse 10. And also all that generation were gathered unto their fathers, and there arose another generation after them, which knew not Yehovah, nor yet the works he had done for Israel. Plagued with not knowing Yehovah. And that's one that itself is horrible. It's horrible not to know Yehovah. And when a generation arises that does not know Yehovah, it will be deceived by strange gods, strange religion, mystery Babylon. Because when this religion arises without clear-cut leadership to reveal God to them, and that's not all, they don't even know nor yet the works which he had done for Israel. So plagued with the absence of knowledge of Yehovah and plagued with not knowing his works. So once you don't know his works, it becomes theory without wonders. It produces apostasy. Though they still bear the word Israel, Joshua is dead. The elders are dead. Yet we still call them Israelites. Yet the nations may still fear them, thinking, yes, oh, you know what, these guys are powerful. But this generation became powerless. They still bore the name Israel. But they were Israelites who did not know their Elohim. They were Israelites who did not know the works of their Elohim. So you can bear the name and not have the power. So we still bear the name, but not the power. See what it says in Judges 2, Judges 2:11. Please come with me to Judges 2:11. And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of Yehovah and served, say after me, served Baalim. Served Baalim. Now why did this happen? Why did this happen? It happened because of the plague of two sins. The plague of two sins. The sin of not knowing the Lord and the sin of not knowing his works. So when people have theory without wonders, when people do not know their Elohim or his works, when in their life it appears Yehovah is on retirement, they will seek after another Lord. And that's a strange thing here, because the word Baalim from Baal means Lord. And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of Yehovah and served Lord Baalim. The word Baal in the Hebrew means Lord. It means Lord. It means Lord. So in their search for the Lord, they stumbled on Baalim. In their search for the Lord, the true Yehovah, true Elohim, they stumbled on Baalim. They encountered Baalim. So crucial, so pathetic. And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of Yehovah and served Baalim. They served the false Lord, the false religion, false worship. When God is on retirement, when Yehovah is on retirement, because a generation does not know him or his works, There's a false replacement that comes from Baalim, Baal. In verse 12 it says, and they forsook Yehovah. They forsook Yehovah, Elohim of their fathers, which brought them out of the land of Egypt, and followed other gods, of the gods of the people that were around about them, and bowed themselves unto them, and provoked Yehovah to anger. Wow. They turned to the environment for sustenance. An environment bowing to Baal became their sustenance. So sad. Look at verse 13. I think we'll stop here today. I'll continue next Thursday. Now Judges 2:13 says, and they forsook Yehovah, and served Baal and Ashtaroth. Now just ponder about that. They forsook Yehovah and served Baal and Ashtaroth because they were seeking for works. They wanted interventions. They wanted answers. They wanted cures. They sought deliverance. But there was a challenge. The two sins was not knowing Yehovah and not knowing his works. They sought for it in the wrong direction. They found Baal. And with Baal, it's always Ashtaroth. So when people fall into Baalism, they will always attach Ashtaroth to Baalism, because Ashtaroth promised fruitfulness. Ashtaroth promised fruitfulness. So as a farming nation, they needed fruitfulness from their crops, from the land. And since they didn't know Yehovah or know how to reach out to him, they had forgotten him and forsaken him. They turned to the environment for sustenance, and they sought the god of the environment, who was Baal. And from Baal, they entered deeper into the worship of Ashtaroth. And from that point was a deeper discovery of Chemosh, different discoveries of other gods, and that's the further they left Yehovah. And this is just a food for thought. Two major sin was foundational, not knowing Yehovah. And that's why it's important we lay the groundwork as a ministry to help people find Yehovah, to know the Lord, to know the true Elohim, and then to uncouple his works in their lives, his wonders, his intervention, his miracles, his signs in your life. And so you can tell these signs are coming from Yehovah, because they sought Baal for signs and wonders. They sought Ashtaroth for fruitfulness. And those were counterfeit fruitfulness and counterfeit blessings. And with those things comes no peace or joy. With those things come more bondage. But only him, Yehovah, gives all the peace, the freedom, the prosperity that has no bondage, that has no yokes attached, and his yokes is easy, and his burden is light. He will not give us load that we cannot bear. He does not give us load we cannot bear. So it's time to know Yehovah, the true Elohim. It's time to find out, am I compromising my worship? Am I worshiping what I do not know? There's a unique blessing that comes from serving the only true Elohim. Abraham discovered him. Isaac discovered him. Israel discovered him. He's Yehovah, the Elohim of Israel. And his son, he sent us his son, Yeshua, the Messiah. And we put faith in him and obey his commandments. There's no blessings from Him we cannot access. And I pray for you right now, worship me, that you'll see the mighty works of Yehovah in your life. That Yehovah will not be distant from you. His works will be new to you day by day. You shall no longer be estranged or far from His wonderful works. May Yehovah, the Elohim of Israel, be your Elohim, be your keeper, be your strength, be your rock, be your deliverer as you serve Him and commit to know Him in Yeshua's name. This coming Shabbat, I'll be extending more on this message, and I'll be giving room for so many other people who want to come to identify themselves with the Elohim of Israel. You may have known every other Elohim, but you've not tried the Elohim of Israel. So this Shabbat, don't miss it, 10 a.m. It will be a blessing for you and your family. So invite someone this Shabbat to be a part with us on our Shabbat Holy Convocation service as we explore serving the true Elohim and knowing His works. Amen. I'm going to give you an opportunity right now to give Yehovah. And don't forget, every opportunity to give Yehovah, the Elohim of Israel, is also an opportunity for Him to bless you. He has a work on the earth, and you are a partner with Him in spreading the reach of His kingdom around the world. We are destroying idols. We are exposing pantheons for what they are, and we are planting and establishing the reign and rule of Yehovah in community, in regions, in nations, and in territory. We are His territory takers. We are His ambassadors. So partner with us through your offerings and through your giving in extending the voice and the reign of Yehovah in different regions of the world. So you can give through a cash app, through PayPal, or go on our website, and the address is on your screen, HOI Nigeria/donate. And just click on the donate button, and you'll be directed on how you can give your offering and also how you can support our mission in taking the true gospel of the kingdom of Yehovah to the ends of the earth. And that will be a special blessing to have you as a partner who prays for us, and a partner who gives to our mission. And also, before we go, don't forget the Kingdom Legacy Project. We still need your help we still need your help to enable us complete the roofing of the convention center. Yeah, as you can see, we've completed the international office and studio, and we will be worshiping this Shabbat at the studio. And it's going to be a blessing. So many will be blessed and touched, and you hear testimonies of your past intervention. And we also still need your help to complete the roofing of the convocation center. And this will be a place where lives will globally be impacted, a global community for discipleship and transformation. So please help us complete the dreams of Yehovah. So with $28,000, we'll be able to complete this project. And if Yehovah has blessed you with resources, see that resources as your seed and your means to promote His work. Where more can you give to if not for the work of Yehovah? What more can we give our life to if not for that which brings Him glory? What brings Him glory than what we are doing? Be a part with us by giving. Nothing is too big and nothing is too small when it comes from the heart of worship of Yehovah. So please go on our website, HOI Nigeria's, click on donate. Go on our Cash App and go on our PayPal, and the PayPal address is on your screen. Inbox me if you want other information on how to give. We also accept cryptocurrencies and bank wire and bank transfer. So please reach out to us as a ministry and we'll reach back to you. Thank you so much. Father, we bless your name today and we appreciate you for every life touched and blessed through this broadcast. I pray as we go, mightily bless each and every one of us today in Yeshua's name. And decree peace and grace and blessings and abundance upon their lives, upon their family, upon their businesses. Thank you, Father. In Yeshua's mighty name we pray. Thank you, Yehovah, for this place. Be glorified. Shalom, partners, friends, and supporters of House of Israel Nigeria Kingdom Legacy Project. At House of Israel Nigeria, we are doing an amazing work. We are building a global community for discipleship and empowerment. I want to enjoin you, partners, to be a part with us by sowing a generous seed to support us in completing this great project that will see the lives of so many people transformed and empowered. So consider prayerfully. If Yehovah is leading you to give towards the project, go ahead and do not hesitate. The links and address to give are on your screen. Please take advantage of this moment to give to the work of Yehovah. The biggest investment you can make is into the kingdom.